Namaste everyone. This is Dr. Pratibha from KLE Societies S. Nijlingappa College, Rajanagar, Bengaluru. Today I'll be discussing with you about chromosomes. Okay. I request everyone to subscribe this channel to support and like this video and also share to your other friends. Thank you. The word chromosome, which is originated from the Greek word that is chroma means color, zoma means body. Okay. Now let us understand the definition of chromosome. A chromosome is an organized structure of DNA and protein found in cells. It is a single piece of coiled DNA containing many genes, regulatory and other nucleotide sequences. All right. Genes means a segment of DNA that instruct the cell to synthesize proteins, right? Whereas genome means that is a set of or collection of genes. Many genes together will form genome, right? So chromosomes also contain DNA bound proteins which serve to package the DNA and controls its functions. Okay. I request all the students kindly make a note of this definition of the chromosomes. Okay. And kindly invest your quality of time here. Okay. Without paper and pen, don't sit for to this particular video. Chromosomes are the structures that contain the genetic material, right? They are complexes of DNA and proteins. Chromosomes are tightly coiled DNA around basic histone proteins which help in tight packaging of DNA. In eukaryote, to fit the entire length of DNA in the nucleus, it undergoes condensation. The genome comprises all the genetic material that an organism possesses. In bacteria, it is typically a single circular chromosome can be seen. Whereas in eukaryotes, it refers to one complete set of nuclear chromosomes. Note, eukaryotes possess a mitochondrial genome, right? Whereas in plants also have chloroplast genome. Okay, it means this mitochondrial genome and chloroplast genome, which comes under cytoplasmic inheritance, right? We were knowing earlier only nuclear inheritance. This mitochondria and chloroplast, we can see both in the cytoplasm, right? It means cytoplasm also you can see the DNA molecule in the cellular organelles which inherit, right? So we can say this as cytoplasmic inheritance, that is non-nuclear inheritance. Okay. The main function of the genetic material is to store information required to produce an organism, right? The DNA molecule does that through its base sequences. Whereas DNA sequences are necessary for synthesis of RNA, that is mRNA molecules, or gRNA or ribosomal RNA and other cellular proteins. Okay, they are also necessary for proper segregation of chromosomes, replication of chromosomes, and also compaction of chromosomes, right? So they can fit within living cells. Each single cell will be going through all these particular necessary action. Now let us go through histones. Histones are highly alkaline proteins found in eukaryotic cells nuclei that packages and order the DNA into structure unit called nucleosomes. In my next session, I'll be going through in detail about nucleosomes. Okay, today in this video, we'll just focus on chromosomes and other important characteristics. Okay. All right. Next, let us go through here. What exactly is a chromosome? Chromosomes are the rod-shaped filamentous bodies present in the nucleus which become visible during cell division, right? They are the carriers of the gene or unit of heredity, right? Chromosomes are not visible in active nucleus due to their high water content, but are clearly seen during cell division. What is a chromosome? Condensed chains of DNA is not known as chromosomes. A cell's DNA is usually divided into several chromosomes. The 3 billion base pairs that make up the DNA in one of your cells is divided into 46 different chromosomes, right? That is, in human being, we have total 23 pairs of chromosomes. Individually, 46 chromosomes can be seen. There, we can see 3 billion base pairs can be seen. Now let us understand discovery of chromosomes. Okay, chromosomes were first described by Strasburger in the year 1875. The term chromosome, however, was first used by W. Valtier in the year 1888. Chromo means color, zoma means body. That is nothing but colored bodies. Why they called? Because when they observed, they will appear like marked affinity for basic dyes. Their number can be counted easily only during mitotic metaphase. Their functional significance was described by Sutton in the year 1900. He traced transmission of hereditary factors during gametogenesis. Or chromosomes are the physical structure which acted as messengers of heredity. General reviews on the morphology of chromosomes have been published by Heads in the year 1935, Quadra in the year 1939, Glitter in the year 1940, and Kaufman in the year 1948. Okay, if I'm going very quickly, kindly pause this video and go through the information and make a note in your notebook so that not nice to watch again and again this particular video. Make your own short notes. Okay. Chromosomes are composed of thin chromatin threads called chromatin fibers. These fibers undergo folding, coiling, and supercoiling during prophase so that the chromosomes become progressively thicker and smaller. Therefore, chromosomes become readily observable under light microscope. Now let us go through the number of chromosomes. Normally, all the individuals of a species have the same number of chromosomes. Closely related species usually have similar number of chromosomes. Presence of a whole set of chromosomes is called euploidy. In Greek, eu means true or even, ploid means number or unit. Okay, it includes haploids, diploids, triploids, tetraploids, etc. Gametes normally contain only one set of chromosome. This number is called haploid. Whereas somatic cells usually contain two sets of chromosomes, that is 2n, that is diploid or diploid. 3n triploid, 4n tetraploid. The condition in which the chromosome sets are present in a multiples of n is polyploidy, that is more than two sets. The change in chromosome number in set. When a change in the chromosome number does not involve entire set of chromosomes, but only a few of the chromosomes is aneuploidy. Okay, monosomics, that is 2n minus 1, change in chromosome number by 1. Trisomics 2n plus 1, nullisomics 2n minus 2, tetrasomics 2n plus 2. Okay, got it? Now let us go through the number of different chromosomes and different species. Human, total we have 46 chromosomes. Chimpanzee, 48 chromosomes. Dog, 78 chromosomes. Horse, 64 chromosomes. chicken 78 chromosomes, goldfish 94 chromosomes, fruit fly 8 chromosomes, mosquito 6 chromosomes, nematode 11 in male and 12 in female, horsetail that is in plant to 16 chromosomes, squash a red 22, red wood 3 22 chromosomes, roundworm we can see the presence of 2 number of chromosomes. Onion, number of chromosomes 16, carrot 20, tomato 24, tobacco 48, rice 24, maize 20 number of chromosomes. Okay, any two examples you can keep in your mind about the number of chromosomes. On the extreme roundworm shows only 2 chromosomes, while the other extreme is represented by protozoa having 300 or more chromosomes. However, most organisms have numbers between 12 to 50, 3 to 8 in fungi, whereas from 8 to 16 in angiosperm, that is flowering plants, and most common number is being 12. This is all about the number of chromosomes in different species. Now let us go through eukaryotic cell division. Step 1, mitosis. Step 2, cytokinesis. Mitosis, this is the division of the nucleus after DNA replication. Each daughter cell will receive a complete nucleus, and this has 4 phases like prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. In short, PMAT. Okay. Cytokinesis, this is the division of the cell. In detail, I've explained in my other previous video of mitosis. You can go through the in detail explanation about cell division, mitosis, and also meiosis. Okay. All right. Let us go through here stages of mitosis. Here I'm not going to explain any stages of mitosis. I showed this slide just to show this particular stages of the mitosis. You could see here interphase, seal number 1 here, then second early mitotic prophase, late mitotic prophase, where you could see the already spindle fibers already started over here. Then this is mitotic metaphase, right? Here the nuclear spindle becomes very prominent, where you could also be able to differentiate the individual chromosomes, and you can also count the chromosomes, their shape, everything you'll be able to distinguish at this particular mitotic metaphase stage. Then fifth stage here, mitotic anaphase stage, then mitotic telophase. So this is all about the stages of mitosis. The next one here you can make our stages of meiosis. Okay, here you can see first one protein, second zygotine, then here packetine, then here this is the diplotin. Okay, then this is diakinesis, then here you could see the electron micrograph or a compound microscope also will be able to see this particular diagrammatic represent this particular view. A metaphase first, then early anaphase first, late anaphase first, then this is telophase first, interphase phase. Okay, after that you can see the prophase second, metaphase second here, then anaphase second, telophase second, then the tetrad and young pollen cells of example can see the daughter cells. Okay, this is all about the stages of meiosis. Okay, if I'm going very fast, you can pause this video and you can have a look. Here you could see this is the nucleus. Within the nucleus, you can see this is the chromosomes, nuclear pore, right? And this is the DNA molecule, solenoid chromatin fiber, and this is the nucleosome. And this here you can see the histones, right? In coiled condition. Then this is the DNA helix. This is the centromere, and here you can see the telomere, and this is the condensed chromosome, and these two are the sister chromatids. Okay, here you can also see this is the chromosome, right? And here you can see the solenoid structure here, and once the solenoid structure removed, you can see here the presence of the nucleosome, right, which is coiled with the DNA molecule. Once histones are removed, you'll be could able to see this kind of DNA double helix. Okay. Now we can go through here the chromosome structure here. Okay, this is the X-shaped chromosome structure because it looks like X shape. So you can say this is the X shape. Each side of the X is called sister chromatids. Okay, these two are the sister chromatids and these two are the sister chromatids. Sister chromatids are held together by a centromere. Okay, you can see the centromere here. Centromeres are basically protein velcro that is responsible for the migration purpose. Then you can on either sides of the centromere, you can also see their kinetochores. These kinetochores play a very important role during the migration or movement of the chromosome in association with the microtubules. So you can see the association of kinetochore microtubules where they're attached with these particular spindle fibers. Kinetochore are the mitotic spindle will attach during the mitosis. Okay. In general, plants have longer chromosomes than animals. Among plants, dicots in general have higher number of chromosomes than monocots. Chromosomes are longer or large sized in monocot than dicots. Organisms with less number of chromosomes contain comparatively large sized chromosomes. Now let us understand here chromosome morphology. Microscopic observation revealed chromonema, centromere, secondary construction, nuclear organizers, telomeres, and satellites. Okay, chromosomes may differ in the position of the centromere, the place on the chromosome where spindle fibers are attached during the cell division. In general, if the centromere is near the middle, the chromosome is metacentric, where two symmetrical structure called chromatids. If the centromere is towards one end, the chromosome is acrocentric. If the centromere is away from the center, the chromosome is submetacentric. If the centromere is very near to the end, the chromosome is telocentric. Hope you are able to understand and kindly make a note in your notebook so that not necessary to go through again and again this video. Usually, this question will be asked in the examination. Briefly explain the chromosomes based on the position of the centromere. Okay, you can put one star marks. Usually, you'll get this question for 5 marks. Now, let us go through the position of the centromere varies from chromosome to chromosome and it provides different shapes to chromosomes. Okay, let us understand what are those shapes we are getting mainly based on the position of the centromere. The first and foremost is metacentric. In these chromosomes, the centromere occurs in the center, okay, and forming two equal arms are centromere lies midway along the length of the chromosomes. Okay, the metacentric chromosomes are V-shaped during anaphasic movement. Amphibians, a cold-blooded animal, have metacentric chromosomes. The second one is submetacentric. In these, the centromere occurs near the center or at the medium portion of the chromosome, located some distance away from the middle region and thus forming two unequal arms. One arm is shorter than the other. During the anaphasic movement, the submetacentric chromosomes appear L-shaped. Okay, in metacentric, it's V-shaped, whereas in submetacentric, it's L-shaped. Now let us understand about acrocentric. If the centromere is very near to one end, one arm is very small and the other arm is very long, then it is called acrocentric chromosome. These have the centromere at one end and thus giving a very short arm and an exceptionally long arm. During the anaphasic movement, acrocentric chromosomes appears like J shape. Okay. Now let us go through here telocentric. One, the centromere is situated exactly at one end of the chromosome. Such chromosome will have only one long arm and is called telocentric. Hope you're able to make a note here. In telocentric, you'll have only one long arm. Telocentric are very rare. The rod-like chromosomes which have the centromere on the proximal end are known as the telocentric chromosomes. During the anaphase movement, it appears like I shape. True telocentric chromosomes have been reported by Marx in the year 1957 in plants. Few species of protozoans and mammals also contain telocentric chromosomes. Hope you're able to make a note about all these particular chromosomes. Based on the centromere position, we are could able to see different shape of the chromosomes. Now let us understand functions of centromere. Okay, a centromere provides mobility to the chromosomes. Centromere attaches to the spindle fibers during anaphasic movement. Kindly just imagine all this information so that you'll be able to keep in your mind the pictures. While I was going through all these sentences, points, please imagine about the chromosomes. Centromeric region of each chromatid appears to have a small intensely streaming granule called that is kinetochore. The spindle fibers get attached to the kinetochore rather than to whole region of the primary constriction of the chromosomes. They'll attach only the kinetochore position will be attached to the spindle fibers for the further movement from the metaphase to the anaphase stage. Here you could see the submetacentric chromosome pictorial representation. Okay, this is the centromere and this is the short arm and this is the long arm. Okay, this is the chromosome and this is in duplicated chromosome in metaphases. Okay, here you can see the telomeres and this is the kinetochore here. Then these two we can say sister chromatids. Okay, and this short chromosomal arm is known as P arms. P that stands for P for in P in French that is petite. It means a small chromosomal arms are known as petite, that is P. P stands for small, whereas the long chromosomal arm is known as Q or G. Earlier we used to call G. G stands for grande, that is long. Okay, this is the Q arm. Here you could see the different stages of shapes of chromosome based on the position of the centromere. Okay, this is the centromere and this is the chromosomal arm and you have another chromosomal arm. Okay, this here you could see this telomere, right? This is the metacentric. This is the submetacentric shorter chromosomal arm, that is P, shorter chromosomal arm P. Long chromosomal arm is known as Q. Okay, earlier it was known as G. Okay, but nowadays after P, Q comes. So they mentioned here Q, long arm is Q. Okay, long arm is Q. This is acrocentric. Telocentric, which is very rare. You could see the centromere here. Only long one arm can be seen. Okay, here you can see the microscopic view and if you want to understand more information about these chromosomes and the karyotype, how to do the karyotype, please go through my previous video about karyotype and also the human karyotype, Down syndrome, then Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Credichat syndrome. I have explained in that how to prepare this particular karyotype chart and also about the chromosomes. This is metacentric. Okay, this is the metacentric and this is the submetacentric and this is the acrocentric and this is the telocentric. Okay, this is all about the different shapes of chromosomes. Here you could see the shape of the chromosomes. Here you can see the first one, which is the metacentric, which looks like a V shape during the movement towards the anaphase. Then this is the submetacentric, which is quite L shape because it has a shorter chromosomal arm which looks like a L. And the next one is acrocentric. Okay, because of this shorter chromosomal arm, if this bends, it looks like a J. Okay, then the last one is telocentric, which looks like I. Okay, this is all about the metaphase configurations of the four classes of chromosomes, that is metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric, and telocentric. Okay, again you can see here the diagrammatic representation: metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric, and this is the telocentric. Here you could see the structure of chromosome at metaphase of mitosis. Here you can see the telomere, secondary constriction, then pellicle. Here you can see the matrix. Okay, this matrix covered by the pellicle, that is chromosomes which are surrounded by membranous structure called pellicle. Okay, this is the membranous structure which is called the pellicle, which encloses jelly-like substances called matrix. These matrix are which are surrounded by the membranous structure called pellicle. Okay, and this is the chromonemata. Here you can see this is the primary constriction, and you can see the centrosome, that is the kinetochore, and they're responsible for the attachment with the spindle fibers, right? And this is the secondary constriction. Okay, nuclear organizer, and here you could see the satellite. Okay, being a science student, you should write this diagram by using pencil, not by using pen. And kindly, whenever you write any diagram, kindly label them very neatly by using pencil only, not by pen. Again, the same structure repetition here. You could see the P arm, then Q arm. These two are non-sister chromatids, but these two chromosomal arms are known as the sister chromatids. Okay, but different chromosomes will be known as the chromosomal arms are non-sister chromatids. Okay, this is the dad, and this is known as the centromeres of DNA. Then kinetochores can be seen over there, right? So all these showed in the previous slide: telomere, matrix, then secondary constriction, primary constriction, chromonemata, and this is the satellite. If I'm going very quickly, I request you to pause this video and go through the content. Thank you. Here you could see this is the eukaryotic cell, and this is the nucleus. Within the nucleus, you can see the chromosome. Okay, this is the chromatid, P arm and Q arm. Here you can see the coiled chromosomes can be seen here, right? The thread of the DNA molecule in solenoid loops can be seen. Okay, here you can see the solenoid. Okay, and here you can see the nucleosome, right? And these are the histones. Once histones are removed, you will get this kind of double standard DNA molecule where you could see the base pairs are nitrogen bases which are paired with hydrogen bonds, right? You can see each adjacent nucleotides which are connected through the phosphodiester bond, and opposite nitrogenous bases which are connected through the hydrogen bonds. Here you could see the presence of a gene. A single gene can be seen here, another set of gene can be seen here. So a set of genes or collection of genes known as genome. The combined loop of DNA and protein is a nucleosome. Okay, the nucleosomes are packaged into threads, which sometimes described as beads on a string. The end result is fiber known as chromatin. Now, the chromatin fibers is coiled into a structure called here solenoid, which is a cylindrical coil of wire. Okay. Now let us understand here some of the chromosome morphology, that is telomere, chromosome and centromere, site of spindle attachment, nucleosome, DNA double helix wrapped around histone proteins. In my next session, I'll be dealing about nucleosome model in detail. Here you could see the eukaryotic versus prokaryotic chromosomes. Here you could see the prokaryotes, a circular DNA molecule, whereas eukaryotes contains a linear DNA molecule. Then naked, no associated proteins here, right? And the DNA molecules are not covered by the nuclear membrane or any compartment, right? As in eukaryotes, DNA molecule chromosomes which are associated with the histone proteins, right? Plasmids often can be seen in the prokaryotic bacterial organism, whereas in eukaryotes, two are more. Okay, sorry, in eukaryote, you cannot find any kind of no plasmids. There is no plasmids. In prokaryotes, one chromosome only. In eukaryotes, two or more different chromosomes can be seen. Now coming to the transcription translation process. In prokaryotes, transcription translation will be happening in the cytoplasm simultaneously. And in prokaryotes, you could find only the coding sequence. That is, exons can be seen in the prokaryotes, right? No introns, whereas here, okay? Whereas in eukaryotes, transcription will be happening within the nucleus and translation will be in the cytoplasm, okay? Whereas in eukaryotic mRNA molecule, you can see both introns and exons. So during post-transcriptional modification, these introns, which are non-coding sequences, will be removed, and only the exons and those are coding sequences which are joined together, right? So in eukaryotic mRNA, we can see both introns and exons presence, right? Whereas in the prokaryotic mRNA sequence, you can see only the exons, that is the coding sequences. Okay, that's it. This is all about the chromosomes. Okay, I'll be back with some more videos. Kindly watch my other future videos. I, Dr. Pratibha K, signing off for today. Stay tuned with me. I'll be back with some more videos. Hope you understood today's talk. Thank you for watching this video. Kindly subscribe this channel to support. Thank you, everyone.